Yo, yo, what is happening, people? It is Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, and this is some Tuesday night live Strongman talk. So, gonna give this about a minute, 90 seconds, 2 minutes. But I'm just doing this every Tuesday night to kind of break down some things that are happening in the strongman world. I personally would like there to be some more media about the things going on out there. So this is one of my solutions. I also would like to invite you, if you're watching, to make this a interactive thing, a Q&A. So if you have any questions for me, more than happy to field and talk and kind of just talk about whatever you guys want, man. I have my interests and stuff, so that's usually what I'm just going to roll on. But you tell me. Today I'm planning on talking about there's the Pro Strongman League show this weekend. There was Rich Molnar set the new 80 kilo deadlift record. That one is particularly interesting to me, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. Tyler Davis walked out of the 90 kilo Pro Strongman League as a champion. Awesome. The guy's a G. So that means he's won Pro Strongman League, OSG, and Strongman's Champions League. So that's a pretty big trifecta. That's about as big as it gets for international strongman success in a weight class world. We also have Static Monsters coming up, and we're going to break down the Rogue Invitational events that just came out. So we'll give this about one more minute, and then we're going to get in. But like I said, if you're here with me, what's up? Thank you for being here and tuning in. You don't have to be a creep. You can also say what's up in the chat here. Like I said, drop me some questions. That's that. So hope you guys are doing okay. If you're out in Florida, there's a hurricane coming. I'm sure you know about that. Everybody's nervously watching, Dennis Phillips and Mike's weather page and this and that. So we'll see how it comes down. This thing keeps tracking south, which is good news for me. I live in Bradenton. The track is going a little further south the further we get along, but not out of the woods yet. It's going to be a big, strong storm. So, all right. So let's kind of just break into the Pro Strongman League to get things started off. So they had the 64 kilo ladies show and also the 90 kilo men's show. So let's kind of give some shout outs to the winners. First off, if I butcher anybody's names, my apologies, but Grace Ingebrigtsen, World's Strongest Nurse, finished in first. And I'm not sure between second and third. There was Crystal, I don't know her last name, so sorry. Meg Lata in second place from New Zealand, and Crystal Stanchik from Colorado out in third. So if you don't know, I am a competitor in the 80 kilo division. So I really like lower weight class events and sports. So Pro Strongman League is doing a pretty good job. Their stream was, in my opinion, okay. And one of the things I think about a lot in strongman is sort of the mix and balance between style and substance. And I really like what Pro Strongman League is doing for the sport as far as like giving out cash prizes to the winners. So I know that first place got a couple grand. I don't know the exact numbers in front of me at this moment in time, but it is starting to draw some pretty good level competition. And what I also, there's a place for all this stuff. One of the other things that I really enjoy is that they are repeating a good handful of events. Now, again, balance. Like sometimes you should have some standardization of events, and then you should also have time for things to just like completely like blown out, like an odd object or a certain thing that nobody gets to train with. But Pro Strongman League, like they have routinely similar pressing medleys, similar sandbag to shoulder series. Like they've been doing a repeated frame carry on the same pig iron metalworks device, all sorts of stuff. So I would like to see them continue on with some of that, and maybe in the same way that Giants Live does, set some like standard in-house records. So Giants Live will say like, oh, we have the world record on the wrecking ball hold. Okay. But like only they're the only ones that facilitate that event. But it would be cool to see that as things progress, to see, again, records are meant to be broken. It's a fun challenge. It gets people to something to strive for. Would like to see Pro Strongman League sort of implement some of that stuff just as an extra bonus. So that's pretty cool. I was part of Alabama Strongman did a stream watch party that jumped in for a little bit with Chuck Ellison up there. Had a fun time doing that. We had some good viewership. And this just reflects again how much strongman as a sport is growing, because you have a lot of people tuning into these sorts of things internationally. And one thing that was a little bit of a bummer is it did appear that there were not many people out there in attendance for this show live, but it's not really the point if you can get several hundred or up to 1,000 people watching your stream as it's going. Now, breaking into the 90 kilo men, that was a pretty crazy show, man. One guy that really stood out to me quite a lot was this Jake Allen. Now, I did not really know much about him before going into this, but apparently he won the 90 kilo Europe's Strongest Man not too long ago. And he's only 23. Now, this guy is a beast, dude. He is an absolute monster. And he came out in second for this competition. So he's somebody that you got to have eyes on for that 90 kilo OSG class. I mean, that is a stacked division, dude. That's a very, very, very stacked, super competitive, fun to watch grouping. At this weekend, you also had CJ Kraus came in third. CJ, if a lot of you don't know, was an 80 kilo guy, and he bumped up a weight class. He just recently won the Chaos Classic, which is one of the biggest 90 kilo shows in the entire world, put on by Rhiannon Lovelace and, oh my gosh, Luke Davies. Sorry, I slipped on your name, but that's that. And then won by Tyler Davis, who, again, like I said, to open this thing off, wow, that guy is a stud, very consistent on all events, and would have even had a bigger margin of victory had he not had a little bobble on the frame carry that cost him 4 to 5 seconds, which in an event like this can cost you many, many placings. So really shout out. I like the way that guy conducts himself as an athlete and just kind of a person. He seems to have a good demeanor. Never met him. Enjoy watching him. I enjoy watching CJ Kraus as well. And this new guy, Jake Allen. So a lot of good competition in there. You got guys like Keith Cherry, pretty entertaining to watch. It was really a good show. So shout out to Pro Strongman League. If you want Strongman to keep growing, please watch and support, even if it's just like a like or a comment on any of the stuff that they're doing. Like, this helps grow the sport for all of us, even if you don't necessarily want to be in this like pro thing yourself. Like I don't, you never say never, but I'm not personally going for Pro Strongman League at this moment in time, but I still do support and really enjoy watching that. So why don't we parlay that into, speaking of weight class stuff, I want to bring up and talk about the 80 kilo deadlift world record that was just set by Rich Molnar out in the UK. So let's start with some backstory here, because for people that are in this lower weight class, this is kind of an interesting thing that's been highly contested and debated over the last few years. Now, I'm not going to really give my opinion, and none of this really matters, but I'm just kind of giving you some context here. So I believe 2020 or 2021, Tom Mannion set this record at 733, if I remember correctly. It's somewhere in the like mid sevens or so, and then it was just absolutely blown out of the water by Ben Donnan a couple years ago. And this has been speculated that this may not be totally legitimate, but it was like in the 792, 793 range. Now, some people say that the weigh-in was not legitimate. He did it in his home gym. There's no record of him making this weigh-in. And there's also people that say that there are multiple instances of him having questionable weigh-ins, including OSG, the year that he won and absolutely obliterated. Now, I am not personally saying I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just giving you context about what happened. So what's good, though, is that questionable circumstances or not, this means that whoever came and set this record had to really make it very legitimate and had to really blow this thing out of the water. So, I was following along with Rich Molnar because I'm interested in this record. And he came out, he recorded his weigh-in. I was following his stories all week long about his weight cut. Curious to see how that went. He was very open about how some of these weight cuts in the past have not gone perfect for him. If you're a lightweight athlete, this is how it goes sometimes. But he showed the weigh-in, showed everything, showed the refeed, and ended up smashing 363.5 kilos. So that would be the first 80 kilo guy to deadlift. Wow, yeah, over 800 pounds. So that comes out to about 801. Amazing. Now, also of note, which is pretty interesting, is you have a kid out there in Germany, Maximilian Wunderlich, who I think potentially even this weekend will also be coming up for this record pretty soon. So this is something that's really just shooting way, 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 way up. Now, for reference, so again, we have Rich at 801, right? And if we're talking in American units, that's 176.4 pounds is 80 kilos. Dan Benson has the 90 kilo deadlift world record, and that's currently at 400 kilos, so 881, which is just absurd. Really, really, really crazy. I'm curious to see just how far these things can get pushed. But the sky's the limit. I got to hand it to Rich because that lift looked pretty easy. And seeing that video, I was sort of like, well, what did he do after that? I don't know if he had any other attempts. But listen, he smashed that. And to be quite honest with you, I mean, nothing but respect. I personally hope to beat you someday. I mean that with nothing but love because that's an incredible mark. Maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. Who knows? But great job. Now, let's also talk about something that happened at the Pro Strongman League this weekend was a handful of deadlift American and world record attempts. So you had Caden Dorstead and Ross Remillard. Both were out there trying to set the current American deadlift record in that same weight class for 80 kilos, which does still actively belong to CJ Kraus. So that American deadlift record is 715, right? And both of these guys came out and attempted 722. Both were unsuccessful. And as a promoter, when I look and watch these things, I try to think about circumstances, like how things are set up, and ultimately what it takes to allow athletes to have their best, most successful opportunities, right? And one thing that really stood out to me with Pro Strongman League is by the time I was ready to do this deadlift challenge, is that you had these athletes coming out in the direct sunlight, probably at one of the hottest parts of the day, because that was about 3:30, 4 o'clock, wherever they were. And it's just facts, like that sun cooks you and drains you and dehydrates you. And it looked like the whole event was outside, even if they were warming up like under covers. That's not really the conditions that you want if you want somebody to come in and set a world record. You want them to be in an appropriate literal climate and temperatures that are going to allow them to succeed. I honestly think that somebody like Ross Remillard has a pretty good shot at this under different circumstances, but I was surprised about that. Now, you also had Summer Johnson setting the women's under 82 kilogram deadlift record, and she ended up pulling, I believe, 671 pounds. What an absolute monster. Had a couple misses in the low, maybe at 700, but either way, this is one of the heaviest deadlifts performed in history by a woman. Absolutely incredible. And then you had Sean Schumacher come out for a 105 kilo weight class master's record of 861, I believe. I'm going to double check on that real quick, but it was absolutely nuts. If you haven't seen this, you really should go check it out. I put a short of it up on my channel, but 861, I believe it was, maybe 865. One of the longest lasting deadlifts I've ever seen in my entire life, but absolute excellence for technical execution. Got his held on, big pull, taller body person, pulled it a long, long way. Tom Mannion, what's up, my man? I've previously done 322, 325, 336, and 340 world records in comp. Ben's fuckery is beyond any doubt whatsoever. 1 to 2 world comps and 3 different world records with shady or non-weigh-ins. So yeah, like I said, this is a highly contested thing, but fortunately, I think we have a very, 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 very legitimate world record now from Rich. So the standard has been set, especially when you have a proof of the weigh-in. And so my apologies, but yeah, that's Tom Mannion out of Ireland there. So he had a 749 pound, 340 kilo world record in competition. That is absolutely nasty. 375. He got 375 moving. That's incredible. I mean, that's one of those. So 826 pounds. Yeah, I really thought that he potentially had more in him. So that's good. I didn't know if he had any other attempts on that. So thanks for the numbers on that, Mr. Mannion. Appreciate you. All I would also be curious if you heard any of what I was just saying about the heat that these guys in Pro Strongman League were under. If you have any thoughts about how that might like affect, a lift or so. I do think that that probably zapped these guys just a little bit, but that's that. So it's really interesting. The standard has been set. Like I said, let's see if Maximilian ends up pushing this any further. And as we know recently, you got a couple guys like even Mitch Hooper's got a shot at 500 plus kilos on that deadlift. So let's see what happens there. All right, so moving on to the Rogue Invitational. The Strongman events were just announced. So let's kind of break through those. Speaking of deadlift records, first one is the deadlift ladder. We're saying 4 max. So from what I'm seeing, I watched Mitch Hooper's video on this, and what he was saying is that there's going to be a series of 9 bars that are set out, already preloaded, and you're going to get 3 attempts. But if you end up wanting to go heavier than the 8th bar, that you get to choose your load for that very last bar. So given that we just saw some of these 1,000+ pound deadlifts at the Giants Live Deadlift Championships, and Thor is back competing at the Rogue, I really hope we get to see something real nasty on this deadlift ladder. But it is a full competition. So, of course, if your goal is to win, you're going to play smart and just get the most points there. But we'll see. After that, we have a grip and press, which is a farmer's carry into a log press. I love mixed events like this. Absolutely love it. Because it's a good way to really test athletes through multiple disciplines in a quick amount of time. If you're just going to do like a standard, let's say 50-foot down and back farmer's walk, that's good. And it's a good test of strength, but it just makes it more exciting to have more elements. So when they have that log press, if I understand correctly, it's going to be a farmer's carry sort of as a buy-in, and that is a rep out for the log press. So it'll be interesting to see how people's endurance holds up on that. But I think very, very exciting. That's followed up by the invert challenge, which is just stones to a barrel, followed by a power drive, which is noted as a push, carry, and a pull. So again, just getting this from Mitch Hooper's videos, he said that he thinks it's going to be something like the wheel of pain type push, some sort of Husafel carry, whether that's a sandbag or like a stone, to be determined, and then probably a heavy sled pull of some sort. So gotta love these big conditioning cardio events. Big fan. If you've ever competed in one of my shows, I always have at least one pretty heavy duty cardio event, usually, but that should be a good test power drive on that one. Followed by the yoke escalator, which is a yoke into power stairs. Awesome. Great event. I've only done the power stairs one time myself in competition, but I personally find myself pretty good at it. So those are 2 dream events for me. I'm great at yoke. I'm great at power stairs. I would love to be able to do that, but maybe I just got to get better, and someday I will. What I found really interesting, it's always about who can strategically run through these events the best. As you know, the absolute limit strength, the strongest person does not always win a strongman competition. There's the mix of, tactics, conditioning, strength, endurance, all of that stuff. So I really liked how Mitch Hooper was talking about, since yoke is, as he says, so easy for him, that he's going to have his lifters on for that when he normally wouldn't, because going into the power stairs, it's going to give him that extra inch and little bump of leverage. So just cool tactics, things to think about. Really nice. And that's followed up by a circus medley, which I don't remember all in front of me, but I believe it's a Louis Cyr dumbbell. I believe there are 2 axles in there, and there might be there's one other thing in the mix, which I'm sorry, off the top of my head, I don't remember, but it's a press medley. So at least a Cyr dumbbell and 2 axles that are finishing that off. So we'll see how these guys are doing after all of these things, and the ladies too. I mean, that's what I really like about Rogue Invitational, is it's giving a really good platform to some of these brutally strong women as well. It's a great mix of events. I think Rogue does a phenomenal job at showcasing classic events, and they usually do a good job in trying to amplify the classics. They might have overshot it a little bit with the, what do you call that, roller coaster, and then the Iron Bull, in my opinion, was a little bit of a disaster. That being said, I respect that they really tried to put on one heck of a show and make it very insane. Yeah, the pay for the women is insane. So fair play. And that's another thing. You gotta give credit to people like Rogue. A lot of people were very pissy online last year about like the Iron Bull. The execution of that was actually pretty terrible in my opinion. That being said, you don't get change unless you try to create something new. So like, hey, they're trying to push the limit and really make this cool and exciting. So like sometimes stuff doesn't work. Womp womp. You gotta learn and get better. Iron Bull was a failure. Yeah, yeah. And if you remember, Matthias was the only one to finish it last year, and he blazed that thing. I do wonder. We never really got a direct answer on that. Now, what the Iron Bull was, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it was like it was a big wooden frame that was on basically a railroad track. And what people were saying, whether true or not, is that as the more athletes got on it, that something with the heat of the wood sliding on that steel would create more friction. So it was actually, according to some people, I don't know, was harder as it went along. Very unfortunately, Trey Mitchell, this is where he tore his Achilles last year. And rumor on the street right now is that Trey Mitchell is actually going to be slotted in to this competition. That's what Mitch Hooper kept saying in his videos. They have not officially announced that in, but we'll see. I think it would be the wise move to move him in either way because he's probably becoming in my opinion, a fan favorite. He's got some insane momentum. He finished second at the USA Strongman Championships. It's only right, in my opinion, that he gets slotted in there, even if that makes it an uneven 11. It's just the right move for that. So very cool. I love watching. It's a very good, fun show to watch. It's not like World's Strongest Man where you have to wait weeks after and you already know all the results. You get to watch it as it's happening real time. So very cool. Sweet. So we did talk, if you were here last week, we did talk a little bit about Static Monsters, but that's coming up. I'm not sure if Tom is still in the chat here, but I know he's still coming in pretty hot for this one. And if I remember correctly, you've also got the WDC, the World Deadlift Championships this weekend. So Static Monsters coming up. If you're not doing that, that is the worldwide competition, log press and axle deadlift, where you can get your rank 18-inch axle deadlift, where you can get your rankings submitted across the entire world. Very cool. Yeah, Tom Manning was in here earlier. 5 times 80-kilo world record holder. What a monster, bro. He's a world champion in Static Monsters at the 80-kilo class. It's really cool. I have not participated in one of these yet because I've hosted it now 2019, 20, 21, 22, 23, 5 years in a row. I'll be assisting, helping the edition in Central Florida. Might compete in it, but just to try and scratch some numbers off the box and qualify for nationals, we will see. Either way, it's a really cool competition. There's probably one in your neck of the woods. If you're looking for something to test out, it's really a great time. So that's really covering all the things that I wanted to. No statics for Tom this year. Left arm. Yeah. So the Viking axle and high handle trap bar. Yeah, you're gonna crush it, mate. It's gonna be good. So yeah, next week we'll have the WDC World Deadlift Council, World Deadlift Championships. That's another one across the world, which who knows? Maybe I'll figure out how to work that in next year. I think this was the one last year where there were some 18-inch deadlifts where people were using like really elongated bars on blocks where the 18-inch deadlift ended up like moving like a quarter of an inch or something nuts. November 2nd. Okay, so that's coming up here in a few more weeks. Yeah, sick. But listen, man, I get asked about this once a week, at least, if not more. Is Strongman oversaturated? Right now, I'm talking about all these different shows that are happening. It's one of my favorite subjects to talk about. And my answer to this is no, there is not too much Strongman going on. And if you think that, you got to completely reframe what you were thinking because it is, what's up, ZT? What's up, brother? A complaint that happens pretty regularly is that, especially in Florida, we're having shows all the time. So let's just talk about the last month, for example. You have my show. I had 2 back-to-back. You have Beast of the Bay Saturday, Masters Pro-Am on Sunday. Then after that, 2 weeks later, you had Ocala Strength Open. A week after that, Swamp Monsters in Gainesville. Week after that, you had Master of Stones, which was last weekend. Now this weekend coming up, you have a Seminole Strength is hosting Challenge at Seminole Strength, but that's Jeremy Horsch's gym up in Tallahassee. And some of these are drawing lower numbers. But listen, man, I really invite you to go watch this video on my channel. It's just called Is Strongman Oversaturated? And the solution ultimately is like, look, if people are in this for the right reasons as promoters, they're going to figure out a way to make their shows good, attractive, and good for the athletes. And now not every show, couldn't agree more, not every show has to be some like super gigantic event. I've been to a lot of shows that are a little smaller in size that stand out head and shoulders above the rest as far as most fun and ones that I would go back to, no questions asked. And Tom just commented this, like the more the better. More comps breeds excellence in both athletes and promoters. I could not agree more. Now, when there are more competitions, you have more opportunities for local athletes at all levels. Now, what we really need to, like, people always complain about, like, oh, we need more money in strongman, blah, blah, blah. I think one of the solutions to doing that is by having a bigger pool of athletes in general. So if you have local shows, even if they're a little smaller, you're going to be ramping up the numbers of total athletes we have, which at the end of the day is going to put more people at all different levels. So you'll have more novice and beginners, which will lead pathways to more high-level open and more high-level pro shows. This is exactly what I talked about at the very beginning. If you want to take strongman to a very, very high degree, even as a weight class athlete, what you have right now is Pro Strongman League, OSG, USS Nationals, and even USS Pro now. They have a USS 220 Pro division, maybe more to come soon, maybe not. Then you have Strongman Corp. Strongman Corp just added more weight class pro shows. So they have an 80 kilo pro show, America's Strongest Man 80 kilo, that's in Fort Lauderdale in November. So there's 4 things. You could go to Strongman Champions League, and then there's just more one-offs if you consider something like, what was that, Strength Games thing? Not in my opinion, but like there are more opportunities to take things to this highest level because of the width of all of these things that starts at the local level. If you have not been in strongman very long, it has not been that long since there was like almost nothing. When I was first getting going in this, which really wasn't that long ago, you would have to travel pretty far for any type of competition whatsoever. I also remember when I first started lifting, now like 17 years ago, it was a complete rarity to see logs, to see stones, to see any sort of strongman equipment at a gym. And now you see this all over the place. Most good strength gyms have Atlas stones. And if they don't, it's by choice. It's not because they're not available. It's very easy to acquire those things. Sandbags, like I said, logs, farmer's handles, axles. The access to this thing is greater than ever. And if there are low turnouts at shows and people are blaming it on there are too many strongman comps, that is just not it. It is the onus of the promoter to make it a good, attractive, fun show for the athletes. And a lot of people focus on, so funny, we're coming full circle. A lot of people focus on style over substance. And now I do think that you should have some flair and style to these things because it's strongman. This has its roots like in the circus, in vaudeville acts, and things like that. But in my opinion, if you have very good substance to it, if you lay out very good, well thought out events that are enticing for good high number participation, then that's how you end up getting people trying harder, people pushing themselves to the limit, which is exciting. If you have like a very, very super cool event, but there's only 10 people in it, while people may have fun, it's less likely that they're going to like really push themselves to 100% because there's just not much stakes. But when you have a bigger show, even if it's a less exciting event, you're going to have people bust their balls to beat their competition. Something that I heard recently that I really, really like is that competition, the root of that word means to conspire together. So competition means to conspire together, meaning that we are conspiring to help each other get better. So competition is better for all of us. You have the right attitude, mindset about it. It's very just about anything. Very, very easy. But I just invite you to try and look at the other side of things and think again, choose the positive. Think about what's actually happening here and be glad about that. Be selective about your opportunities. And most importantly, like put your money where you want the sport to go. Because there are a lot of different styles and options and this and that. And if you believe that strongman should be done this way and you think this guy over here is doing a bad job of it, go support this one. It's just that simple. Okay. What's up, Zach? Zach says, why are most comps in Florida, USS, are Strongman Corp shows just less common? Well, listen, I am the USS state chair, and there's two things going on. One, it is slightly easier to promote a USS show, just less barriers to it. But one of the reasons for that is that I am somebody who's very proactive in putting on these shows and helping other people as well. So there is a level to that where, no disrespect, this is just the way I see it, and I am open to a conversation about this. I do think that me as a USS state chair is more encouraging for other people to put on these shows. There was just recently a change in national leadership for Strongman Corp. But if you've ever seen Willie, Willie is like the nicest guy in the world and will give you any sort of level of support for whatever you need. The guy is very approachable, very accessible. And that's like a top-down thing that helps everybody feel like, oh, I would like to be a part of that. Some people feel that Strongman Corp is sort of like a boys club or whatever. And some people also think, again, this is going back to what do you think Strongman should be and what do you support? Strongman Corp shows there's only a handful in Florida, like Florida's Strongest Man. That is so brutally heavy. Now, I like that because I think there should be a time and a place for really, really, really heavy shows. But USS shows in general have a little more opening novice class. And that is the majority of the sport. The majority of the sport is not these pro people, okay? That is just facts, all right? Every single year when I run these shows, especially Beast of the Bay at the Fit Fest, if I have a 60-person show and I sell out, probably 25 to 30, half, are novices. And you can feel however you want about the novice divisions, but everybody needs a barrier to entry. Everybody needs experience at some level. I've been somebody who's vocal about wanting people to step up into the open division. And the only reason is I want to call people up, not call people out. There's a big difference. And you can tell how people feel about this the way they talk about it. I think that novice is needed for some people because, look, open weights are too heavy. If you want to be a part of this strongman thing, you should be able to come in and participate if you so choose. And also, if you don't want to dedicate your whole life or just that much time in general to going to these super high extremes. I don't like to see shows where there's a lot of zeros. So like I was saying earlier, is when you, in the past, when there was only a few of these shows across the state and a handful were just too heavy for the bulk of competitors or bulk of people that are active in strongman, it's going to be very discouraging for most of those athletes to go to those heavy shows. That's that. They're going to want to go to shows that are more approachable where they'll have fun. And people will say oh, that's not real strongman. What do you know? Okay. It's something where I truly believe, if you want something done right, do it yourself. So if you want to see a heavier show because you think my USS shows are too light, awesome. Put on your own show. I'm not trying to make this oh, my event's so much bigger and better than yours. I don't care. I want things done the way I want them to. I want them approachable to all levels. And like I said earlier, when you do that, it breeds good competition. It makes it attractive for all levels from top to bottom because you're drawing a good challenge for everybody. Now, I don't know if I answered your question in any sort of way whatsoever there. It's just stylistically different. And that's sort of a little more of a Florida thing. It just kind of depends on who the promoters in the state are, the way that they like to see things, this and that. But I think that USS is growing faster in Florida, and most comps in Florida are USS because it's a little more opening and accepting. Now, that being said, just going to touch on this very briefly. When I took over as USS, I had a lot of people reach out to me and they were very, very excited because the previous state chair was not very warm and welcoming. I've heard this from so many people, and that also plays a part of it. So, like, when things change up and like, I will just be very honest. I think I came in and started running very, very good shows. People want to see more of that. This is genuinely what I wanted. I wanted to see more shows done this way. I did it that way, and I hope that I was somebody who led this change to all of these different shows. So that's that. Versus the way things have always been. Strongman Corp has been around for a long time. It was North American Strongman before the rebrand, before the two former heads of these things were married and then they divorced and split. And that's the reason there's still so much petty beef between these things. It's ridiculous. But bottom line, I could go on and on and on and on about that. Please ask more questions if you would like. There are a lot of great shows in every division, in every federation, and even non-sanctioned competitions. I'm always looking for the right fit for me, for my goals, what I want to be challenged in, and the path that I want to take. So this year, I have done a USS Nationals, I did a Strongman Corp Regionals, did OSG Regionals. I'm going to do OSG. So I'm doing different federations because it makes sense for me. I'm looking for good competition. I'm looking to push myself, and there are opportunities, as I said, in all of these different paths. So I don't care about this, beef between Strongman Corp and USS. It exists. That's that. It's very silly. And if you're somebody who really has a stick up your butt about one or the other, you're limiting yourself and you're really being a divisive, petty, negative person. I could say a lot of harsher words than that, but it's just so silly to me that people choose to be divisive and petty in a pretty relatively small niche community as is. That's that. But no, I really like Alan. Alan's always been good and supportive to me. MDLP, Mike De La Pava over in Battle Axe, we're cool. I like the way he does his thing. Also runs his show every year, does a great job. That's that. But that's what's going on. So I appreciate the question, Zach. Good to have you on. There's another handful of you on there. I'm going to just kind of run this for a few more minutes. I could talk on and on and on and on about Strongman. One of the reasons, like I said, why I'm doing this stream is I want more coverage of these things. I want more people to be talking about it to help grow this thing. So if you want to hear something, if you want to dig into something, bring it up. Let's talk. Let's chat. If you want my opinion on literally anything, I'm all ears. So lay it on me. And, maybe too, I'll bring on some other people to further talk some of these subjects. Do you think it would help the complaints about comps being too light if USS had regional level comps like Strongman Corp, something that's a small step up with a bit more incentive? Okay, so mixed feelings about this. Well, let me hit first. Tom, I did not see the U70 Kilo Strongman Worlds last weekend. If that's something I need to go check out, then I will. Just let me know. I did not watch it, though. I just saw the highlights. But once again, I want to reiterate that I'm a big, big, big proponent and big fan of more opportunities for people at all sizes. I have a client right now who would be a 70 kilo guy, so I would push him into that if possible. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'll take a look at that. If anybody's following along on the chat, first off, follow Tom Mannion. He's the man. But also, you can check out Daniel J., the new champ, 70 kilo world champ, and All Fitness Strength, who is the promoter of the 70 kilo world championships. So let's talk about this USS, if USS had regional level comps. Now, I do think that there should be, I sort of agree to a point. There should be some sort of maybe a mid-level or a different tier to have more stakes to some type of shows with USS. That being said, when we have nationals that are really big, 600 people, you get the benefit of having very, very, very cool large-scale events. I've talked openly about this several times. The Denver, Colorado USS Nationals was probably the best run strongman competition I've ever been a part of. And part of that was the venue. It was in, it was in a rodeo arena, basically, not with the clay surface like World's Strongest Manatee, but it was in a coliseum. We had amazing equipment for everything. Every piece of equipment was top of the line. Every judge was top of the line. We had Nick Myers in my lane. He had a ton of staff helping. All the equipment was awesome. Atmosphere was great. Location was great. This and that, and you only get some of those things with very large numbers. Now that being said, there's a downside when you have. Listen, man, there's really only a very handful of the like 45 in my group that had any sort of shot of actually competing at this thing. That's just facts. But I also do encourage people to go get access to those high level comps. So I kind of have mixed feelings on this. I ultimately side to, the model as it is right now is very good. And then I would defer to what I said is like there are other paths too. So the best people do typically end up winning, but it does stink a little bit sometimes when, I'll be quite honest. I could have gotten first place if I was 4.5 seconds faster on the sandbag medley. But hey, man, listen, you go to these things, you get better, and that's what all of this game is about. I don't really know what the answer is with USS. I wish there was like something else with some more stakes in it. But the way that I sort of view it is like the impetus is on me to make something like Beast of the Bay a higher quality competition. I want to make this something that stands out and makes it super attractive for people from all over the country to come to. So that being said, I've got some pretty exciting things that I'm working on already about a year in advance for next year. Now, USS also has these things. Like I said, they have a developing pro class and pro qualifiers coming. So for some of these divisions, soon you're going to start seeing a lot more opportunities for people to get that pro level. And what pro is in USS is a literal monthly salary. As long as you're competing in Strongman, you win that pro status, you get that pro card, you got it. Strongman Corp did just start giving out physical, actual hard pro cards, which qualifies you to compete at their pro level. So some of these like America's Strongest Man competitions, pretty sick, but it does not come with a paid salary. But I'm not gonna lie, I saw some people getting that physical pro card. That thing's pretty sick. I might have to go for one of those next year. Yeah, I got a lot of opinions on this. Maybe there should be some sort of regional level thing for USS. But I don't really know. Like I said, there's also a lot of benefit to having such large scale events if they're run very well. The year before in Dallas, in my opinion, not run very great. A lot of equipment malfunctions. The like hotel ballroom it was in was not awesome, in my opinion. Little clusters. Some of the events were just sandbag drag with a giant like 12-foot long sandbag. That was a stinker. Coin hold, which was just a front hold. Wow, awful in my opinion. Sorry, but that being said, again, the bar has been set, and I think that this next year, 2025 in North Carolina, will be incredible. So we're gonna have a whole team of people rolling up for that one, Zach. It's gonna be a good time. So good question, though, man. I appreciate it. Just good stuff. Sweet. Yeah, I appreciate you guys being interactive on this, man. Very cool. That's kind of really all I got. I got 43 minutes of just me straight talking. I hope you hope you liked it at least a little bit. I'm going to run this to about 45 if I don't have any other questions. I'm going to dip off and try to check the weather, I guess, see where this freaking hurricane is. Zach Matthews, I know you're paying attention to this. I'm sure the further south it gets, it's better news for you. But yeah, we got a hurricane, big one coming. Category 5 out in the Gulf right now. I'm fingers crossed that it keeps going further south from us. It has just kind of bounced all over from us this morning. It was further north, and it's just slowly tracking down. So we'll see, man. We'll see. But if anybody's got another question for me or anything, we'll be happy to lay it on me. Yeah, you guys are going to be all right up in Crystal River, man. Powerlifting, Daniel J. Cool. Sweet, following him. I'm going to follow this All Fitness Strength. Guess what? I can't release too many other things right now. This is not going to apply to you, Zach Matthews, but got a national record-setting event coming to Florida in December that will be part of a hurricane relief charity fundraiser. So it'll be December 21st. So if any of you strong boys are paying attention, want to set a USS national record in either the axle clean and press, log clean and press, standard deadlift, 18-inch standard barbell deadlift with a Texas power bar, or farmer's hold for time coming up in December. That's going to be the same day as your Rhode Island's strongest man, Zach. So missed out on that. But some cool stuff coming, man. I guess I have one more thing for anybody that's with me. I just cannot encourage all of anybody whatsoever, whatever you're doing, to truly be your truest, most authentic self. If Tom Mannion is still with me, man, that guy keeps it real. He's, I love watching your stories. You're always, got some good takes on this and that. So just be authentic, man. I think one of the things that hurts some people in promotions and just like overall success and like happiness with themselves is they're not living to be their most authentic and truest self. I'll leave this up to conjecture on who you think I'm talking about, but some people that are running shows are very, very bent on making it all about style and all about how cool it is and all about how good they are as promoters and all about like, oh, this is so good for the sport without like actually giving a shit about making the world and community a better, stronger place. Just listen, man, be you, be true. You'll attract your tribe. You'll attract your people. And Joseph, what's up, man? Thank you for popping in. And like, if you're too much for some people, like if you're Tom Mannion, you're way too much for some people, then like, listen, man, those ain't your people anyways. And you'll find better, stronger people, like not just hench, but you'll find better people that vibrate at your level that you're going to have a better time and a better life with. So don't have your head up your butt. Be authentically you, whatever that means. Do your thing, and you'll just enjoy a lot more success, this and that. So sweet, guys. I'm going to call it a wrap for tonight. I really appreciate those of you that jumped in and watched with me. If you want to replay for any reason. Oh, thanks, Tom. I appreciate it, man. I mean, it's easy when you could, this too, when it's something you really care about and spend a lot of time looking into, you go on and on and on. I feel very passionate about this stuff. I will answer Joseph's competition. What's your favorite meal to eat the night before a competition? So as I'm doing weight cuts, I'll say the whole day before competition, I'm slamming carbs all day long. I usually do a quick digesting carb and a slower one, a more complex one. So I usually am doing like honey and white rice all day long. And then because when you deplete, you have to get your triglycerides up, something that I had locked into, but also heard the man right here, Tom, saying. So I like a nice fatty steak with a couple eggs as my last meal before bed, but it's a heavy carbs. I'll be up to 800 to 1,000 grams of carbs the day before a competition to refeed and refuel, and also have that nice glycogen storage up for peak performance and potential that next day. So, guys, really appreciate you jumping on. That is going to be it for me tonight. Thank you so much. If you're in Florida, stay safe, make good choices. Feel free to follow me on any of the social channels. It is literally the same at Stephen M. Coyne on every single social, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. So keep it up. All the stuff that you're doing, you and your life. Stay strong, eat right, sleep well, recover hard, stay focused, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, be true to yourself, true to your country, be a real, Hogan says American, just be real to yourself. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good night. Stay safe if you're in Florida. Stay safe if you're anywhere else. Just be smart. Have a good night. Have a championship night.